My dad saw my sewer slide note and broke down. For the past year my father and I have not been on good terms. He expects nothing but perfection from me and lets me know when I have failed in his eyes. Anything I do is never good enough for him. Last semester I finished with a 3.8 GPA, but my father grilled me about how I need to apply myself to get a 4.0 and how lazy I am. I made the all-league team for varsity volleyball twice and we advanced to the semifinals for CCS this year, but all my father would tell me were the mistakes I made on the court. I want to either be a nurse or firefighter, but he has never once supported my dreams. He treats my two younger brothers great and is an amazing husband to my mom, but to me it feels like he never wanted to have a daughter. The past couple of months has been the worst period of my life. I was accepted to my dream college and immediately committed. It's out of state, but I received a scholarship that covers most of the tuition. Going to this school would be the best option for me financially and personally. My father does not agree. He is a person who believes families should stick together, and me moving to another state feels like a slap in the face to him. I told my parents I was going to commit to the college in January, and every single day since he had berated me for being selfish and how I am a terrible person. To him I am a loser who no one cares about and will never succeed in life, and it hurts to hear my own father say that. We have been arguing and yelling at each other for the past 3 months, and we have said some really nasty things to each other. I reached the point where I considered cutting him off from contacting me when I moved out for college. All these feelings coincide with my struggles with sewer slide. I have been struggling with suicidal ideation for the past year and a half, and it has been so hard trying to constantly find a reason to live while bickering with my father. I have started to self-harm again and my right thigh is a total mess. I have prepared 2 sewer slide notes in case I go through with it, and I have come close twice this year. I was moments away from taking my life last weekend, but a conversation I had with a friend earlier in the day stopped me from setting up the noose. I graduate high school next month and plan to admit myself to a psych ward the day after graduation. I do not know if I can even last that long. I am that unstable right now. I hide the notes in a place where no one can find them, but last night I had a breakdown and took one of them out to read. I put it on my desk and went to sleep, but forgot to put it back when I went to school this morning. Around noon my father texted me asking if we could have a serious conversation when I got home. Around noon my father texted me asking if we could have a serious conversation when I got home. I immediately tensed up and prepared for another argument when I got home. He got home from work an hour later and immediately walked into my room and closed the door. He sat next to me on my bed and said he put some clothes in my room this morning and saw my sewer slide note and read it. The note addressed all my family members and his paragraph covered his actions and his behavior towards me. He took my hand and began to apologize for his treatment of me. He had been reflecting on his mistreatment of me all day and realized how emotional and mentally abusive he has been. He started telling me how proud he is of me and how good of a role model I am to my brothers and my peers. Whenever someone brings me up, they always have positive things to say and have faith that I will succeed in life. His apology sounded extremely genuine and I could hear a quiver in his voice. He asked about my struggles with self-harm and burst into tears when I pulled down my sweatpants and he looked at my thigh. He grabbed me and started bawling and continued to say how sorry he was. This made me emotional, so I hugged him back and started crying. He has not hugged me in over a year and his embrace made me feel so safe. All I wanted was for him to show a little affection towards me. He held me for an hour and rubbed my back, telling me he is going to change his attitude towards me. He is proud of me and my accomplishments. He wants me to go to college and said he was selfish for not supporting me. I told him about my struggle with sewer slide and planned to enter a psych ward after I graduate, and he gave his full support to me. Since he is an EMT, he looked at my thigh and said most of the cuts should not be visible in a couple of months. One of them is pretty deep and will most definitely be raised, but I am not self-conscious about it. He gave me a kiss on the head and went to get something to eat for us and came back to my room, and we had an actual conversation for 2 hours. There was no screaming or yelling or crying. We had an actual conversation for the first time in over 2 years. It's all I ever wanted from him. I want so badly to have a healthy relationship with him. I see how good he is to my family and he is the best paramedic in the world, and I want him to be in my life. He left my room an hour ago and I have been writing down my thoughts, and I don't feel any anger or sadness in me. I don't feel the urge to hang myself, and I even feel like planning a day of activities with him. He genuinely feels remorse for his treatment of me and wants to gain my trust back, and I want to give him an honest chance. I am still a complete mess, but I feel a small amount of hope for the first time in a long time. Update. He checked on me one more time and said good night on his way to bed. He hasn't said those words to me in 2 years. I'm so happy right now.